Over the last 20 years, there were two major recessions, the dot-com crisis, the '08 crisis, and it seems to us that the third recession is in the making since the beginning of 2022. And in this tutorial, we'll find out how to determine if a recession is imminent through a comparative study of the GDP and the S&P Index. And my name is Kon Hao. My work in this channel, as always, is to study into the correlation between different markets and uncovering potential opportunities. And before we get into this topic, please do take some time to read into the disclaimer. Let's take a look at the GDP year on year. And what classified the economy that has entered into recession, it is when the GDP has two consecutive down quarters, and then the agency will meet up together to decide if the recession is here. And what we're seeing here is two down quarters, and then followed by an 8-month recession, dot-com recession. And same here on the '08 crisis recession, there's 18 months, and somewhere between there are some minor recession here. But the whole idea I'm trying to point out to you here is that, in fact, the GDP peaked about half a year before this 8 month. And for this case, in the '08 crisis, the GDP has peaked about 2 years, more than 2 years before it entered into the '08 crisis and recession. And interestingly, what we're seeing here is that April 2020-21, the GDP has peaked, and now it seems that the whole GDP is on a downtrend. So what does it mean? And instead of just looking at GDP, I would really encourage that you also look at, or you do a cross-reference to the indices as well. And that's what I'm using here, which is the E-mini S&P Index. Of course, you can look at the cash index as well. Not an issue. You can also use the NASDAQ. You can also use the Dow Jones. It will give you a very similar reading. And throughout the history of last 20 years, try to spot for two consecutive down quarters. And this is a quarterly chart. And you will find that it's difficult to find them. But if you happen to find them and you have to take it seriously, it could be also means that the economy or the market is in a bear market. And that's what we were seeing here in the dot-com recession with two consecutive down quarters. We saw that it followed by many down quarters and it formed a bear market. So same thing for the '08 crisis and recession with two down quarters followed by a few more down quarters. It formed this bear market. And what you're seeing here is the beginning of 2020-22 with two down quarters. And I believe that we're into this mode right now. And this is beginning of the bear market since 2020-22. And in the whole year of 2020-23 with the AI rush, I find that this is a bear retracement, and moving forward, market should be having more headwind. And of course, recession. Let me just discuss about the fundamental reason for this bear market is because 2020-22 is also the beginning of interest rate hike. But the fundamental issue of the higher inflation have not been resolved yet. Definitely not at all globally. And therefore, there's a reason to believe that this is a bear retracement. And interestingly, at the close of September is also the closing of the third quarter of this year. We also saw an inverted hammer. So this definitely give me some timing about the market that recession, we have to entertain the thoughts that recession is still possible. But where is the opportunity? The opportunity is that I will have lesser stock holding, knowing that the economy may be turning. I may want to take advantage of some derivatives like shorting into the market if possible, or trade on that directional play where I will sell into strength. Now, let me just share with you some example that I did where we have to identify the trend. So April 2020-21, it was what we have discussed that the GDP has peaked. And this was also a period I became a bit wary of this bull trend. And then if many of you have been following me, my mandate was clear at a point in time at the beginning of 2020-22 at the third week of 2020-22. My mandate is I have turned bearish technically and fundamentally. And the reason is because this uptrend line has been broken. This was the third week of 2022, and you can reference it to the NASDAQ. It will give you a same reading as well. As just beyond NASDAQ and all this, we do our weekly case study and discussion. We also discuss into different stocks. This is Alphabet. We receive a very similar reading as well. So at the point in time, the whole year of 2022, I've been selling into strength. At the crossover of 2020-23, that this bear is still intact, but I believe that the whole year, or at least the first and second quarter of 2020-23, is a retracement bear, and that's what we had discussed in our weekly case study as well. So then we discussed, and that's the beginning of this year, 2020-23. Same thing, this downtrend has been broken above, and I'm suspecting that we are going to have a short-term bull market, which has lasted for 3 quarters. Going back to today, about the recession, what I'm seeing here is that, or what I'm seeing here is that 3 weeks ago, this uptrend line has been broken below. And that is the opportunity I'm seeing here again. I'm going to have a lesser holding of the stock market, but I'm going to get a little bit active in trading, and that's how I'm going to do it since the trend has turned. I think days and weeks and months ahead, I'm seeing a more downtrend, and that's what I'm going to do here. I'll be closely looking at the hourly or 3 hours chart, and let me just apply what we shared in all my previous many videos that we spoke about how to construct an uptrend line or downtrend line. You can visit those videos where I speak about the rules. There are 2 rules. But what I'm going to do here is that I'm just going to look at this downtrend line, and perhaps there's some proposition moving forward somewhere around here. Join us in our weekly case study and discussion. You can find more information how you can do that on my profile icon. Feel free to leave any comments below. I love to exchange ideas with you. Really happy that you stayed through this tutorial. You have many great trading weeks ahead.